Hello and welcome again. This is Robert Schein, Managing Director and Partner at Blanke, Schein Wealth Management. Today is Friday, the September 3rd of 2021. This is our Friday Insights edition. It's where we take a little bit extra time on a topic we discussed maybe earlier in the week or it's maybe in the headlines, and we go to take a deeper dive. And that's what we're going to do for us today. So thanks for watching. So if you tuned in earlier this week for my earlier podcast editions, I was discussing the current U.S. economy and current U.S. earnings and how that translates and relates to what we're seeing on the broad market rising the last few weeks, but year to date. And so markets are up as a result of that. Ultimately, what I referred to earlier this week is since policies of 2017, we had a change in the tax code, and a lot of those favorable pro-business tax policies, as well as a lot of other things that were done in a previous administration, were still foundationally setting up the U.S. economy in the right way. Now, obviously we had fits and starts, and obviously we had COVID, and we also have Congress in session going to change the laws going forward, higher taxes and more regulatory restrictions. We don't know what they'll finally level up on, and maybe a state tax law changes, but the reality is that they've spent so much money, they being Congress, for aid and everything else and assistance because of the global pandemic, that they're going to have to sort of pull in the reins, not so much of spending, but raise taxes to offset, and for us to able to essentially, would never say balanced budget, if you will, but start sort of slowing down the spending is probably the best hope for and best case scenario right now. That being said, you still have a sort of a foundationally strong economy. Unemployment obviously is the biggest key right now, where still have about 10 million people looking for jobs, but there's also an adults report 10 million people that are 10 million job openings. So we don't know if it's geographic displacement or those that are still coming off of government assistance waiting to then go back in the labor market. We have obviously today's labor report will discuss that, but more importantly, I also talked about earlier or later in the week, yesterday, what would be the biggest threat on a go-forward basis to the U.S. economy, and whether we have the jobs reports, yields, the Federal Reserve, the Delta virus variant, supply chain constraints, geopolitical unrest, corporate earnings, consumer confidence, consumer spending. I mean, the list goes on. Housing market. I could add 10 more things right now to say what keeps us up at night. But ultimately we're prepared. Our clients' portfolios are prepared. We're positioned properly in the sense that we also have cash, and we keep cash strategically to take advantage of future opportunities when they come to us, i.e. when markets pull back. And they always pull back. They don't go straight up. Let's be honest on that one. That being said, what is the greatest threat? And yesterday in my broadcast, I talked about the greatest threat on a go-forward basis to U.S. economy in the short term would be if schools were closed again. Again, the reason why I bring this to the forefront, obviously it's back to school time. It's a happy time. We haven't seen our kids in school for quite some time, for the most part across the United States, grandkids, so on and so forth. So we're really happy as parents. I'm a father of 4, got my oldest in college, 2 in high school, and 1 in middle school right now. So yes, the happiest person was going to be my wife, because she's at an 18-month sort of stay-at-home camp with everyone at home. And so now we've been waiting for this moment. Kids, back to school, right? That being said, in the financial journals just this week, it's very interesting. We have a lot of inside information, not inside trading information, but inside information that sort of comes to us in what Wall Street's thinking about, sort of the next thing, the next sort of concern that we have to position properly for. And what reoccurring over and over recently is this thing that the Delta variant could creep into, shutting down schools once again. Again, there's different states, right? So we got 50 states plus or minus, if you will, depending upon how you look at it. But that being said, there are different ways of governors think about it, or even health departments in school districts and unions. Some, like in California, we could go right to a shutdown maybe middle of this month after the recall is, who knows if governor will be recalled, maybe not. Probably not. And maybe on September 15th, when he's, after the 14th election, he comes down and shuts down the state again, shuts down schools, shuts down everything. And that would be the worst case scenario, the threat to the economy, because California is the 5th largest economy in the world, and other states like California could follow suit. that is devastating to the U.S. economy, because then you have parents that have to stay home again, children that have to go virtual learning again. It slows down worse than the global supply chain, right? You can't get a car right now. Ford can't make cars right now because of computer chips and so on and so forth. We've sort of been through that game. We've also seen that corporations can make money. Again, I reported earlier this week, if you look at the earnings for U.S. corporations by way of S&P 500 are better than they were and the highest level that they were in 2019, if you even take out 2020. So now we have earnings that our corporations can make money, whether it's a global pandemic or not. It's miraculous. So the economy is chugging along, as I said, foundationally speaking. But what could slow it down again are schools. Now, what's going to be interesting is what to watch, right? So policymakers could come in, worst case scenario, God forbid, we pray that this doesn't happen for our children, especially here in California, and say the health department says, oh, you know what? The new variant only affects kids and only kids, so it's all about kids, so let's shut down the kids. If that happens, I'm very interested to see what policymakers do for sports and entertainment. Because sports and entertainment, right, you can't have an NFL football game on a Sunday. It's $1 billion industry or entertainment, right? Concerts are going back all day long, and say, oh, the kids have to stay home. But we still want you to go out on weekends, mom and dad, and spend money at the NFL or go to that concert that you've been waiting for 18 months. I will tell you, if this happens, not only will it be an economic sort of huge blow for the U.S. economy. Again, markets will pull back on this if something like this happens. So watch policymakers. That's why this is not a political sort of speech here right now. This is what we're concerned about, how we're staying on top of it for our clients, but also taking advantage of it and being positioned properly here at Blanke, Schein Wealth Management for our clients. But this is in the financial journals right now. This is in our research. This is a concern. But the major concern here is the have and have nots. I will tell you, politically speaking, this could be the third rail that if politicians want to go after this, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an Indian chief. I'm not any of that. But this is going to be interesting how they're going to want the consumer to go out on nights and weekends and spend their money, but yet say, hey, schools are shut down and you have to teach your kid at home and sort of carry three jobs at once, which is be the educator, family, as well as provide so on and so forth. So we will see. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Again, I pray that this doesn't get to this and that sort of the virus works its way, the vaccines take their way, and we all sort of get back to slowly but surely and safely a healthier life on a go-forward basis and a safer life on a go-forward basis. So this is what we're paying attention to at Blanke Schein Wealth Management. I wish I had a rosier update for you on a Friday Insights. I try to keep it light, but right now it's important to have this conversation because it's a responsible conversation as to what we're paying attention to. A lot of our clients are saying, hey, what's worst case scenario and what we're paying attention to. So this is it. So let's, again, hope and pray that we go a different direction and we get through this in a safe and healthy manner, in the right manner on a go-forward basis. So again, this is a Labor Day weekend. Everyone stay healthy, stay safe, and I appreciate you guys watching our Friday Insights. Take care.